Yes, we're back once again. Create your new life, business meeting and coaching. I am your host, CEO, broker, Michael G. Davis, here today to continue our series where we're talking about leads during tough times. Let me close this door. Give me some feedback, and I don't like it. But welcome. Excited about today. So, for those that are checking us out for the first time, I just want to let you know, start off with a couple of housekeeping. Our Create Your New Life, our business meeting, our coaching, we do it once a week. It's an opportunity for the agents to come on board if they have questions, if they want to chime in on some of the information that I'm delivering. This is where we do it. You know, we talk about items that are that are going on in the company. This is where we do it. So if you hear anything, if you're checking us out on our YouTube channel, and you hear anything that you like, that speaks to you, because we do a lot of coaching, right? And if that's what you feel like you're missing, then I want you to call this number back there, or I want you to go to a website. And in fact, I'm going to show you the website I want you to go to make it easier. A lot of times I wait to the end to do it, but this time I'm going to do it now. I want you to go to, let's see, this website. Come on. Go to that website, and I want you to schedule an appointment face-to-face with me, and we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about what needs to happen to put you in a position to where you will be able to experience the level of success and realize your dreams and goals, the things that you had set forth when you first decided that you was going to get your real estate license, right? At Brooks & Davis, we don't care about your reality. All we care about is your goals and your dreams. So if you hear something that you like and you want to do that, go to that website, and I'll show it to you once more. Go to that website. Let's schedule an appointment, and we can introduce ourselves to you. All right. As you all know, Rick, Jess, Margaret can stop me and engage, ask questions with our new platform. A lot easier for us to do that. So please feel free to take advantage of it. Today we're going to talk a little bit about some upcoming events that we have. We're going to continue our conversation about leads. You know, we're still going through the book shift, and we're going to be looking at tactics number 5 and 6 today, dealing with lead generation. Spend most of my time. We are going to talk a little bit about where our realtors can put themselves in a position where they don't pay monthly fees. I mean, there are brokerage firms out there and they're charging fees, monthly fees, and I get it because the lights got to stay on. I've been a broker on my own. You know, we're celebrating 11 years this year as an organization, as a firm, so I get it. You know, that rent gonna be due whether the agents perform or not. You know, them lights gonna have to be paid. Them subscriptions and things gonna have to be paid. So I get it as far as monthly fees. But here at Brooks & Davis, we have things in place to where our agents don't have to pay monthly fees, and we're going to show you how that works. The quote that I had connected on all the marketing that we sent out is from Martin Short. He's a comedian and an actor that you may be familiar with. And since we are talking about in this 10-part series about tough times and how agents handle it, I felt that it was more than appropriate for this quote that he had to say. And he said, "The mark of the man is how he responds to situations." You can't see me. All right, Margaret can't see me. Jess, can you see me? Rick, can you see me? Let me know. But the mark of the man is how he responds to situations. And at the end of the day, that's what it is. You're going to know what you're made of once you handle adversity and once you break through it. Right? Breakthrough is my new word. My new favorite word is breakthrough. because we have nothing but challenges. We have nothing but situations that are out there wanting to prevent us from being our best selves, and we got to break through those things. All right, now before I go too far into it, one of the things that we do offer is, again, if you're checking us out on YouTube or some other mechanism, is that we offer CE credit for our agents that log on during these sessions. So it's 1 hour of elective CE credit. This visual right here, and it's brought to them through our educational providership, the Brooks and Davis Real Estate Continuing Education Institute. So through our providership, we're able to offer CE credit for some of the things that we do. So that just shows the things that have to take place for them to qualify for the CE credit. And you know, I always like to start off showing that so our agents can take advantage. And like right now, we have some agents on board, and they're definitely taking advantage of credit. All right. So now, with that being said, let's go ahead and record. So Brooks and Davis, we have a core ideology. It has made up of 3 main components. Our big, hairy, audacious goal. The other is our core purpose. So we have our core goal, our core purpose, and then we have our 5 core values that are the value that we're going to look at today. Has to do with exceeding the expectations of our clients, customers, and colleagues. So one of the things that we've realized as an organization is that it's highly imperative that if we're going to be competitive, that exceeding, not just meeting the needs or not just satisfying the client, becoming raving fans. If you haven't read that book, you need to read it. But exceeding the expectations of customers and colleagues is what creates exponential growth. And because of that, because of our understanding of that, like I said, we have humongous goals. For us to achieve those goals, we always have to be in a constant state of exceeding the expectations, not just meeting it, but exceeding the expectations. With one of our core values, every day, our agent members, our executive leadership, even our affiliates, we inspire and encourage everyone to be in the mind frame of exceeding the expectations and not just meeting them. So that was our quick core review as far as our moment in core today. All right. So now, the most of the time I'm going to be spending going through the training, so I'm going fairly quickly through the business of our organization. All right. So now we always look at every week who's the top producing agents, and so here's the latest update. I want to say last week our numbers were off, but we have gotten it fixed. So we're around 3.1 million is where we sit as far as total production. You see our top 3. Congratulations again to Margaret for being our top 3 producing agent. You can see how much production that she has on the board. So, you know, when you're talking about closing out a year, that's how you need to close it out, right? That's how you need to be going into the next year, closing it out strong. Between her and Laquana, they're really sitting in strong positions for the end of this year to really blow up for them. So congratulations, Margaret. Congratulations, Laquana. And Brina is in there as well. So now, what does that mean? Come on, guys, let's get it going, right? That's the reason why I'm putting a lot of emphasis on and that we're going through this series the way that we're going through it is because, you know, dealing with shifting markets, the things that Gary's talking about, the things that we were talking about last week. So if you haven't looked at last week's, you need to look at part 1 of this. If you haven't looked at the previous, you need to look at that as well, because the elements Gary's talking about in this book, even that Gary's talking about in the book, even I would encourage you to purchase the book and read the book. there is a science to achievement. And to achieve in real estate, get this book, listen to these videos and frame what your next move in how you structure your business is going to be. Frame it based off of the blueprints that we're talking about in this series, right? Like I said, it's a science. And when you say there's a science to something, that means that you don't have to figure it out. It's already been figured out. You just have to find it. And what we're doing here is that we're showing you what the science is. So if you want to get to the point like Margaret, and I know for her this is just a stepping stone, but look, I know the numbers. I know who's performing and who's not. If you want to get to the point to where you got your name on here 5 times, Quanta's got her name on here 3 times, there's a science. 4 times, Quanta has her name on here 4 times. There's a science to that. They're not guessing. They're following a plan. They're following a blueprint. And this right here is the proof that it's working. I encourage you to do the same. All right. So congratulations, ladies. Keep up the good work. Let's keep working on it. And again, I'm here. If your name's not on there, then that's where we come in. And that's where you need to be scheduling your coaching sessions with me. We need to begin get on track to really break into figuring out what is it that's preventing you. Because I promise you, it's not the mechanics. Business is what that, right? So there's some things that's preventing you from having the level of success that you want. Well, that's where you and I need to get together, and we need to work through that so we can break through those barriers. See my word again, break through. And then and then we can move. You can move to the next phase. All right. So I always like to start off with our mural of the proprietary programming that we offer at Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm. So these are all the programs, and we're constantly adding more. Something that we pride ourselves in is continuing to be innovative and offering the things that are ultimately empowering, creating an environment that's empowering for people to be successful. That's what we look to do daily. Every day we're working on that. So the one that I want to talk about today is our membership dues waiver, quarterly waiver. So there are membership dues that we offer at Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm. Okay, so once a quarter, our agents have to be responsible for $350 of membership dues once a quarter. Okay, we have additional rebates that they may qualify for, meaning if they pay it by the 1st or before, then they qualify for a $50 rebate. So instead of paying $350, you pay $300. So those rebates are in place. But what I believe is very beneficial to our agents is our transaction waiver that our agents can take advantage of. And what that looks like is that if an agent does a transaction, or we'll say for every transaction, we'll say that. So for every transaction that an agent completes within a quarter, and when I say transaction, I'm not just talking about buyers or sellers. I'm talking about an apartment. I'm talking about a tenant, a rental, right? Obviously talking about buyers and sellers. But for every transaction that an agent completes, then there's $100 of their member dues waived just because they did that transaction. Right? So what does that mean? What that means is that our agents have the capacity to where they don't pay any member dues, right? If a person did 3 apartments, 3 small apartments, then by the time member dues are due, theirs is a 0. They're covered, right? They do 1 transaction instead of paying, do 1 transaction and pay it on time. Instead of paying $350, they pay $200, right? They do 2 transactions, they pay it on time. Instead of paying $350, they pay $100. Like I said, if they do 3 transactions, they don't pay nothing. So the waiver program is one of those proprietary programs that we offer to our agents to where we can position ourselves to be a no monthly dues type of organization. So we have the capacity and we offer that to our agents. So I just wanted to share that. All right. I didn't put that in there. How about that? All right. So we have a takeover that we're going to be partaking in this week. And it's going to be at the Fort Bend Networking. Let me pull it up. I downloaded it into the thing, but then I didn't add it. Way to go, buddy. All right, let's see. Make sure everybody knows about it. There we go. All righty. Let me share my screen. So great that you can share your screen. So this Thursday, Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm is going to be taking over the Fort Bend area networking for HAR Fort Bend. So HAR has, the Houston Association of Realtors has a chapter in Fort Bend. And this Thursday at Sugar Creek Country Club, Brooks & Davis is going to take it over. What that means is that, you know, as a CEO, I felt like we should spend more time together as an organization. So in 2 to 4 weeks a month, we get together, we identify events, and we just all go mob and go to it together as a group. We mob it. So this is what's going to be the event for this Thursday. It's a free event, which is also always great. And they're going to bring in a special speaker. They're going to be giving out gifts for everybody that attends. So anybody that goes gets a gift. I mean, what more could you ask for? So what better event could we have? So these are the type of things where we all come together. We wear our Brooks & Davis badge and our R's, and we go as a family. It's a way to fellowship. It's a way to have fun. It's a way to experience life together. And that's what our takeovers are all about. You know, we've already done, this will be the third one. We did a great happy hour at Lupe Tortilla. We did our vision breakfast. Here's another one that we're going to be doing is we're going to be sharing in this networking event in this luncheon, and we're all going to get our gifts together, right, and get our free food together. So it's this Thursday. Come on out. Let's get it. Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm. Wear your badge, and let's take it over. Let's take it over. All right. Let's see. So I think that was it. I think we're ready to jump into our training for today. Yeah, that's it. All right, let's jump into it. Let's jump into it. All right. So, you know, we're here. We're talking about shift. We're talking about last week we talked about finding motivated leads, right? So we spent a lot of talk about lead generation. Well, this week we're going to be talking about conversion, because lead generation is the most business critical activity that can be done. Is lead generation. All right, so I'll rock with you on that. But what comes in a close second, which is where a lot of agents fall short, is lead conversion. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more about some lead generation once we start talking about the internet and we get down there. But if you didn't see last week's, if you didn't see part 4 of how to make sure your leads don't dry up in tough times, if you didn't see part 4, I highly encourage you to look at episode 118. It's on our YouTube page. Look at it, because that whole episode was about lead generation. It was about tactic number 4 in the book. All right. So now, today we're going to be talking about tactic number 5. And tactic number 5 is that once you have the lead, how do you convert them? So what are you converting it to, right? You use the word conversion. But what does that mean? What are you converting them to? All right, well, you're converting the lead to an appointment. You know, one of the things that Gary says is that if you do lead generation but don't get a name and a number, what good is it, right? Because if you have all these things, if you follow all the tactics that we talked about last week, and you become effective in people calling or people responding, right? Remember, we talked about offer response. So you become effective in offer and response. but you don't get a name or a phone number. You just let them respond and then let them go. Well, what have you really accomplished? And that's what he says. And that's the type of thinking that you have to take into it. I mean, without the ability to turn activities into leads and leads into appointments, any lead generation activity you do, it's just a waste of time. So I'm going to say it again. Without the ability to turn the activities into lead generation, and activities is what you do on a daily basis. Without the ability or the skill to be able to take what you do on a daily basis and turn that into quantifiable leads, not living in this state of ambiguity or this cloud of what ifs and scenarios and all that other stuff. We're talking about measured, quantifiable proof that what you're doing is bringing you leads. If you don't have the ability to do that, and then second, the ability to, once you get those leads, inspire them to meet with you face to face, then you're far, far, far off the boat of being able to be successful in this business. Now, Gary says many agents spend significant amounts of time and money on their lead production, but they neglect conversion competence and skill sets in that, right? He says until you've done conversion, you don't really have a lead. He says you may have an inquiry, you may have a web hit, you may have a prospect, but until you convert them, meaning you get them to agree to meet with you, you don't have anything yet, right? One of the jokes that he brings in at this part of it, he says a man who loves fishing jokes with people when they say they like to go fishing. He says, "Oh, you do?" He says, "I like to go catching," right? He says he doesn't go fishing, right? And what Gary is saying is that a lot of times when we talk, we speak of the activity, not necessarily the outcome that we're going for, right? Because anybody, when they get on the boat and they go out into the bay, what they're really doing it for is not just to go drop the line and just say you had your line in the water for the whole morning. That's not why people are going out there. They're going out there for a particular outcome, and that outcome is to catch some fish. So you're not going fishing. You're going fish catching is what we're doing. So here, when it comes to lead generating, you're going out there for appointments, right? That's what you're going out there and doing. Now, he says conversion is a process, not an event, right? It's a journey. It can happen fast or it can happen slow. That's one of the biggest things that's hard for my agents to understand, is because you guys want it right now. Y'all want, as soon as y'all call the lead back, that they're like, yeah, I've already talked to the lender, I'm pre-approved, I want to meet with you right now. Like, that's what you want. When in reality, that don't happen. So stop, right? We talk all the time about conversion happening between the 5th and the 12th phone call. Conversion. Same thing that Gary's talking about, meaning them agreeing to meet with you. The 5th and the 12th phone call. You may get a host of reasons on why they're not willing to meet with you in those phone calls. But you got to stick with it, and you got to be consistent. He calls it cultivating. We're going to get to that as well. That's another one of those major areas that agents have a hard time dealing with. All right. So now Gary says converting begins with capturing, which is getting enough information. Got to get the phone number, got to get the name, got to get the email address, right? You get them on the phone, you got to understand that you need those things. There's a visual that he shows. I have it right here. And, it's a real simple figure to give you an idea of what the lead conversion process looks like. And now there's a component he's going to add. But the first step is to capture it, right? So whether you use marketing or whether you use prospecting, right? We talked about that last week. Whatever your mode of getting people to respond from the offer that you've submitted, you got to capture that information. Once you capture it and you engage with them, at that point you have to connect. And we're going to talk about that. So that's step 2 of the process. Once you capture, then you have to connect with the individual. And then once you've successfully connected with them, then you must close to the appointment. Right? So that, it's a very simple two-step process when it comes to lead conversion. You know, one of the statistics that Gary quotes in the book is that approximately 2/3, so 2/3, man, that's 66%, right? 66% or 2/3, over half, we'll say that, of all buyers and sellers only interview one agent, and approximately half of the remainder, so half of the 50%, only view one more, right? So, I mean, you're talking about an ungodly amount of individuals to where if you're the one or the two, the first or the second agent to get a person to meet with you, you see how greatly you increase your chances of getting hired and getting clients, right? So keep that in mind. You know, the winning the game is getting to the table first or second. That's winning. Says the number one challenge you face after you've encountered a lead is winning the appointment. Like, that's the biggest challenge. And when you say you're lead generating, you actually say that it's about getting appointments. So lead conversion, if you don't take anything else away from this part of the session, it's lead conversion is all about the appointment and getting to the table. Now, we looked at the capture, connect, close model. So those are the three terms that we're going to be really reflecting on or referring to as we continue. It's, remember, capture, lead conversion, capture, connect, then you want to close them for the appointment. Now, some people tend to believe that it's some complicated recipe to get people to give you their information. But in reality, it's as straightforward as asking for it. Ask for the phone number, right? But obviously, you don't want to run them off in the process. But it's as simple as finding common ground, not just finding things in common with them, right? Finding a way that you can relate, finding a way that you can connect, right? And again, those are the ways to make people feel comfortable. It says capturing should always focus on getting enough information. So it's not good enough just to just get the email. You know, you want a person that you want to put them in a state to where they're comfortable enough. It says that many agents assume the prospect is going to determine when the appointment is, and that's not so. You have to be more in control. You have to be more intentional about asking for the appointment, because the reality is that you're the professional. You should be in a position to where you know what's best for the customer. And we all know what's best for the customer when they're going to make this large of a financial decision when it comes to selling or buying a house. They need to have a sit down and consult with somebody. You know that's what's best for them. So you're offering to help them and assist them. And you need to be confident in that. One of the things I really like when he said that, he says either your ability will cause a meeting or your ability will either cause or not cause a meeting, right? So what he's saying is that either you're going to get good enough, you're going to get skilled enough to where people are going to meet with you, or you're going to remain unskilled, and because of your unskill, you're not going to have meetings. It's all about your ability and your skill. Huh? And then he goes into scripts and systems. So scripts and systems are the mechanisms, and he goes into way more detail than I have the time to go in with our time together. But the scripts and the systems are an important part of that process. What he says is scripts ensure that you effectively say what needs to be said in the most powerful way with the least amount of effort. And systems make sure that you are taking the right action at the right time with the least amount of effort. All right. Now, last week's episode, I showed you all how to get to, I have notes that I'm reading from. Right? So even if you don't want to get the book, read the clip notes that I'm pulling out, because even that is powerful enough to put you on track. Right? Because, like I said last week, I'm not going over everything that I've typed out. Right? So even for me, it was a process. First, I read the book, then I highlighted it, then I pulled a bunch of information, and now I'm talking to you. So it went from the complete amount of information in the book all the way down to the things that I feel are important to say here in this video. So don't just limit it to the video. If you want to get the biggest bang for your book, get the book, read the book. All right. So, and then Gary just ends it with saying the secret sauce in getting appointments has to do with scripts and dialogues, and it has to do with systems and checklists. All right, we're going to look at that some more too. All right, so he talks about capturing. Let's see. All right, one of the things that he points out is when you're talking about capturing, prospects have their own needs in mind, and that is how it should be. That means while providing what you must also be vigilant in getting what you want. That's another one of those hard points that my agents have issue with, right? If somebody tells us no, or if somebody approaches us a certain way, or if somebody gives us some level of a gesture or facial expression or whatever, then we get to the point to where we feel we get in our feelings. So, and that's not good. That's not going to work. You guys need to understand that it's not about you anyway. The prospect is coming to you because they are looking for something for themselves, and that's it. You know, capturing, asking for their information, it's about attitude, right? A lot of agents say, well, I don't want to seem pushy, or I don't want to seem intimidating when asking for the information. Doesn't matter. Look, don't be then. You don't want to be pushy, you don't want to be intimidating, then don't be pushy or intimidating when you ask for their information. Like, it has nothing to do with you asking, right? You have the right to ask. Matter of fact, they want stuff from you, they're asking you for it. So you have the right to ask at any time you wish the name and contact information of anyone and everyone you come in contact with. You have that right, right? It's not your job to just be giving out a bunch of free information. It's not your job. You're here to help, you're here to inform, but you're not just here to give it away. Right? One of the, let's see. So now, always remember you must have a capturing system in place. You know, we talk about CRM a lot here at Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm. It's imperative to get you a customer relationship management system because you can become excellent at lead generation, but you need a customer relationship management system to help with your cultivating and the conversion aspect of your business. You need that to build the pipeline that's necessary for you to build sustainability in this vision. In this business. All right. So once he finished, you know, Gary talks about capturing, then he goes into more detail about connecting. So he says, once you've captured the name and number, it's time to connect. You want to lay a foundation for a working relationship. Right? You want to connect with them by being curious. You want to be curious about them. Be curious about what motivates them, what drives them. You want to be curious about what emotional state, what do they believe in, what are their values, right? That's the only way that you're going to position yourself to where they are comfortable, because it's all about comfortable. People hire agents that they are comfortable with, period. I know we've all heard people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. We've heard that before. So that's what it's about. You know, putting yourself in a position where people know, like, and trust you, period. Like, it's it's not rocket science to this stuff. One of the things that Gary points out is that their experience of talking with you at this beginning point. So this is before they say, yes, I'm going to meet with you. They haven't signed any paperwork. This is your initial conversation. That this experience here has more to do with them hiring you than almost anything you can do, say, or send to them. It's the experience that they have when that initial contact takes place with them. Now, the fundamental philosophy of connecting is, again, I said it earlier, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Now, this point, again, right before they've agreed with the appointment, before you've signed any paperwork, this is not where you tell and sell, right? This is another issue that our agents run into, is that you jump the gun on trying to sell. You jump in too quick. This isn't where that takes place. This is where you ask and listen, right? This is where you ask and listen. And then you ask and listen, and listen, and listen, and then ask, and then listen, and then listen, and then listen. It's the reason you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? Because you should be doing this double what you be doing here. Some agents talk too much. You're talking too much. If you're doing all the talking, you're not going to get hired. All right? So connecting is more than making small talk as far as connecting. It has a lot to do with, again, getting people comfortable and putting them in position to where they're going to hire you. Now, there's some, I thought these were strong, very strong connecting questions that when he talks about scripts that you need to add into your dialogue and your script when you're talking to people, right? These are the 6 questions. They're powerful. When we talk about you being curious, this is how you do it. You know, finding out who are they, you know, what do they want and what they need to do, where do they want to be, what, you know, all of this needs to be done on the phone when they respond to whatever marketing that you have out there. All of this stuff needs to happen to put you in a position to connect with them, to then put you in a position to meet with them, for them to close and them agree to meet with you. All right. So another figure that's in the book has to do with, you know, this is just a dialogue that Gary's having, and he's using examples of being repetitive, right? You know, if you look at the green dots, you know, in essence, this is Gary talking to somebody and listening, right? So he says, back up, and if you would, please tell me a little bit about yourself. When you ask that question, you're looking for as much personal information about the situation as possible, right? Then he says, thanks for sharing that. Now if you will please tell me what you do, right? Or so folks called about Mandor Drive, are you looking for a home? Or so you folks called about getting the pricing information on Mandor, are you thinking of selling your home? You know, that's, again, that question of what do you want or what do you need? And he says, thanks for sharing. Now if you would, can you share with me when you're thinking of moving, right? Thanks for sharing that. Now, if you would, can you share with me why you're doing this? And again, thanks for sharing. Now, would you, or can you please share with me when you'd like to do this? So he's going through those 6 connection questions, and he's just showing it how it needs to flow out of your mouth. And he tells us to be intentional about, you know, he's being intentional about the repetition of the phrases like thanks for sharing, or if you would, or can you please share. Like they're key phrases. He encourages you to memorize them, right? That they're key phrases that allow you to put them in the right state to answer the questions the way that you need them to answer the questions. So again, they're in the book, they're in the notes. Take advantage of going there and studying them, right? Yeah, definitely take advantage of doing that. All right. So there we go. Yeah, so he tells us to be, Gary tells us to pay attention when it comes to the repetition of those questions. All right, so now again, once you capture it, then you connect. After you connect, now it's time to close. Now I know we've heard always be closing, right? And the thing about real estate is that you're closing at different areas of the process, right? So this is just the first, I mean, really the first close is to get them to respond to your offer. That's the first close, right? Second close is to get them to give you their contact information, right? The third close, this is probably the third close in the whole spectrum, is to get them to agree to have an appointment with you, right? So Gary says closing is where the rubber meets the road, is where the prospect becomes a lead and your lead generating activities require you to go getting an appointment. An appointment is the real outcome that you seek, right? Says the word close, I thought this was key. The word close means end in mind, right? So when we say you're about to close, you're going to the end that should have been when you started all of this. Like when you started the lead generation part of things, you're starting the lead generation part with the end in mind, meaning to get appointments. That's what you're starting with. Not to get phone calls, not to get emails from people, not to just get on the phone and have conversation, casual conversation or small talk. The end was I'm doing all of this, lead generating, marketing, prospecting to get appointments. That's what the end is. All right. So now, he says the right approach to close for a meeting is the only approach. Just ask. That's another one of those areas people get intimidated. They don't ask for the appointment. You got to ask for the appointment. Just like you ask for the contact information, you got to ask for the appointment. Nothing's going to happen if you don't ask, period. People are not going to offer to meet with you. Buyers, sellers are not going to offer to meet with you. You have to ask for it, okay? Now, the funny thing about it is that they want and need you to be in charge in a caring way and ask them. They need you to ask. They want you to do it. So they're dependent on you, all right? So now asking, now while people talking absolutes, and I want you to really pay attention to this part right here, because this is something that you got to understand, and this is where the whole concept of cultivation comes in. Now, while people talk in absolutes, they seldom think in absolutes. When we say absolutes, meaning yes or no, white or black, absolutes, up or down, absolutes, always or never. It says now people think in absolutes, but they don't, they talk in absolutes, but they don't think in absolutes. So while most of the time a no isn't an absolute no, and a yes isn't an absolute yes. This is another one of those areas where agents get tripped up. There's a continuum. Right? People use the words, let me show you, because he actually put this figure in there as well. There is a decision continuum, right, that goes from absolute no to absolute yes. And like Gary just said, most people don't live on the absolutes. Most people are in the middle. They're in the firm no, maybe no, on the fence, maybe yes, firm yes. That's where most people are. Right? So people use the words without being committed to them, and you don't really know where they are on that continuum. Every no can become a yes. See, that's the great thing about it being a continuum, is that every no can become a yes. But if every no can become a yes, that also means every yes can become a no. So you should never hang on your laurels of if somebody says yes, you need to see where they are with this yes. Is it a maybe yes, meaning if something happens, that yes can turn to a no or get them back on the fence? Is it a firm yes, and then something can happen or something can change? See, we take for granted that once they hang up the phone and say yes, that nothing else in life is going to happen to them, that they're going to stay at that exact moment, right? So we don't put parameters or protection around protecting our yes. We just let it go. And then we're surprised when the people do a no-show, or they don't answer the phone when it's time to confirm, or when you look up and they've listed their house with another agent. We get surprised. But that's because we didn't do the proper part of understanding where that yes and where that no was on this continuum. A lot of us, the people tell us no, we take it as an absolute no, and we don't call them anymore, right? They say, hey, we're not looking to sell at all, and then you look up next month and it's on the MLS, right? So it's important that we understand this concept, the decision continuum, so you can have more confidence when you're talking and cultivating people, not to be so easy to just give up on the first no that you get, or get comfortable on the first yes that you get. All right, it's important. All right, so now he talks about some hard closes. These are some examples of some hard closes that you can, some types of closes, not hard closes, but types of closes that you can use, right? The hard close, soft close, direct close. Like, this is a list of 10 different types of closes that you can use. Like, for instance, the hard close, let's meet, right? 2 words, being direct, being affirmative, let's meet. Once you connected, you've gotten the information, let's meet. Soft close, I've really enjoyed visiting with you. Would you like to get together to discuss this further? That's the soft close, right? Number 10, he says the alternative choice close. What works better for you? Meeting today, sometime this afternoon, or tomorrow morning, right? That's the alternative close. The assumptive close, that's one that people are kind of familiar with. It sounds like we should meet. I'm available most times this week, so what works best for you? That's the assumptive close, right? So there's many ways that you can go in and close on the appointment, right? So also in this area, Gary talks about responding, right? Learning how to respond. It's natural. About getting to objections is what he's talking about, right? He says you really don't care what their answer is, meaning you don't care if they say yes, you don't care if they say no. You don't care. What you care is that they make a decision. So that's what you're here to do. When you're on the phone, when you're connecting, when you're closing to help them make a decision. You're not closing to get a yes. You're closing to make a decision, meaning you get a yes or no, and then determining where that yes or that no is on that continuum. So what that means is when they say yes, you have to answer some follow-up questions to verify the yes. Or when they say no, you have to ask some follow-up questions to verify the no, to see where they are on the continuum. Because that's going to determine if you cultivate them or if you let them go. All right, so now here are some possible responses that you will hear. He don't say you may hear, you might hear, you will hear it. And I know 15 years in the business, I done heard them a lot. And I have a lot of agents that done heard them. So these are some of the objections or responses that you're going to get when you ask people, let's meet. Can we meet? Let's meet. This is what you're going to get. No thanks, not now, not yet. We'll need to think about it. You're going to get that one a lot. We have an agent. We know an agent. We're not sure what we want to do. We're just looking. We're just investigating our options. We're not in a hurry. You're going to get a lot of that too. We don't need to do anything. We'll get back to you on that. You're going to get a lot of that. So when you get these, when they respond this way to you, at that point, it isn't just, okay, great, talk to you later. Like, that's not it. That means you don't have the ability to convert. When they respond to you, then you need to ask additional, you need to become even more curious and ask additional questions. Now, I get it. I know what you're saying. I don't want to be pushy. I understand. I get it. Don't be pushy. I'm not saying be pushy. But you asking questions is not being pushy. Okay? You're just trying to get additional information and additional understanding. And even if you present it that way, just say, hey, look, I don't mean to be pushy. I'm not trying to be pushy. I just would like to get some additional understanding so I know what my next step is as far as servicing your need, right? You're having a conversation with people. That's all you're doing. And a lot of times, if you've been successful in connecting, by the time you get here, it's going to be a lot easier because they're going to be comfortable. Are going to already be comfortable. So go for it. Ask. All right. One of the recommendations that Gary gives, earlier he talked about scripts and dialogues, and he recommends that you go through each one of these responses. You write the response down, and then you grab another agent and the two of you guys role play using your answers. Come up with answers that you can revert to, right? And practice it. Practice those answers. This is where the role playing and stuff comes in. This is the area that it comes in. Right? And this is what it's to help you do. It's to help you deal with these particular responses so you can do a better job of closing and identifying where people's yes or no is on the continuum. All right. So now, what Gary says, and we subscribe to this philosophy 100%, is that there are going to be times when you get things that you can't quite convert for an appointment at that time, right? It says, even though the lead conversion process of capturing, connecting, and closing is the path you seek, there will always, I mean always, be a percentage of leads that can't be converted directly to an appointment. There will be people who are just not ready or willing to meet with you, but who are still worth pursuing. This is when your cultivation system, I call it a follow-up protocol, and our Realtor Success Funnel. Remember I told you a lot of these elements you see in our Realtor Success Funnel, where our follow-up, a part of contact, follow-up protocol, that's when it becomes imperative that you have a cultivation system in place, which is what he's showing here, right? So again, you got capture, you connect, and through your area of connect, you identify that they're not going to be able to get close to an appointment, so you cultivate them. But you're cultivating them again with the end in mind through your cultivation, which is to close to appointment. So that's where your call list comes in. That's where you're calling 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 times over a 3-month, 6-month, 12-month, 18-month time frame. That's what cultivation looks like. And that's why it's important. Because what it does is within that 10 to 18 month, that 3 to 18 month pipeline, time frame, you will have created a pipeline that's going to continually put you in a position to where you can what? Close to the appointment. So that's why the cultivation piece is important. Okay. Now he says it can be as simple as touching base regularly or systematic as entering them in your database and implementing a touch program. Now they have these things called touch programs. At the end of the day, it's about creating a strategy. And that's where, again, our coaching comes in. You don't have to figure it out by yourself. When we get to that part of what your cultivation protocol looks like or system looks like, you don't have to determine that on your own, is what I'm saying. Right? We're here to help guide you through that and work with you together on doing that. All right? Amongst all the other things that we offer with our one-on-one real estate and business coaching. All right? This is a part of it. Now, while you will always seek to meet with prospective sellers and buyers immediately, if you can't, but you still believe they're motivated, you stay in close contact until you get an appointment. It says most agents struggle with cultivation. That's right, Gary. Most of them do. If they connect but can't immediately close for an appointment, they usually let the lead slip away. Right? And that's why they can't build sustainability. That's why there's not consistency. Is that piece, that minor adjustment in most of my agents that I have dealings with, it's that minor adjustment, them having an effective cultivation attitude, which drives to activity, which drives to a pipeline. That's the issue. Right? Now, they may not. All right. So a simple cultivation approach allows you to stay in touch and be there when they decide, because that's what it's really about. We already said most people, 1 to 2 agents. That's who they're going with, 1 to 2 interviews, right? So you want to be there when they decide to allow that first agent to come meet. You want to be that person. When they decide to allow that second agent, you want to be there, right? Because here's the reality of it. You don't know, you can't know. You can't predict when they're going to decide. That's why you got to call them every week or every 2 weeks or every month, because you don't know when the decision's going to happen. And it happens at the blink of an eye. That's the crazy thing about it. The decision happens. And what you don't want to experience looking up and seeing them working with somebody else, because you was thinking, oh, but they told me this. How could they? And then you feel like it was an offense against you that they went with another agent. No, what you needed to do as far as cultivating the customer, right? Now it says, now while some leads may require long-term cultivation, yes, I said that. It may take 18 months. It may take 2 years for a person finally for them to do business with you. It's the reality of it. That's why you got to be thinking in pipeline and not just individual person. That's why, again, we get tripped up. We see this individual person as a single event instead of thinking of them as a part of a larger pipeline, right? And then just managing that pipeline. I think, to Margaret's credit, one of the things that she's gotten comfortable with is the creation of her pipeline. You ask, well, how did she get to the point where she has 5 contracts up on the board? It's because she's gotten proficient and comfortable in cultivating a pipeline, right? You correct me if I'm wrong, Margaret. You didn't start off being comfortable cultivating and follow up and all that stuff, right? That was something that you had to get comfortable. And now that you've gotten comfortable with, are you seeing success from that?
Yes.
Yes? No? Yes. So, this isn't stuff, this isn't, this isn't, again, the science of achievement. This isn't stuff that we're making up, right? It's, it's to being able to do these things, all right? All right. So, the seller table that matters. In a seller's market, the battle for getting seller listings, homes, sold as fast as possible. So that's what you want to do. So market, and you know what that means is that homes are selling fast, inventory stays low. Homeowners think anyone can sell their house. That's the seller's market. That's what it looks like. In that kind of market, you must get to the table. That's the motivation, and have a shot at taking a listing. Like at that point, it's all about getting to the table. In a seller's market, you don't care what the listing is. You got to get to the table, right? You typically won't do a lot of pre-qualification over the phone. No, you'll try to get to the kitchen table as fast as possible in a seller's market, right? That's what you want to do. But now, in the buyer's market, guess what? Not all listings, because a buyer's market means long days on market, more inventory, right? More listings for sale than there are buyers. So you spending time with an open price listing is really not going to do much for you, because guess what? It's not really going to generate for you because it's overpriced. And there's a surplus of opportunity for the buyers to take advantage of. So during a buyer's market, may not be as where you're not going to be as aggressive as taking listings. Definitely in a listing market, you're taking everything because it's moving, right? Gary talks about being a lead converter, right? So, you know, he ends it with this, right? I was going to try to get in tactic 5 and 6, but it's just not enough time. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add another video. So instead of a part series, it's going to end up being an 11-part series, because I got to do a part 3 to this, because next week we got to talk about the internet and how that plays a part in capturing leads, capturing conversion. Like how does that fit when it comes to this whole lead capture, lead close scenario? How does that fit? So we're going to talk about that next week. So it'll be a part 3 to this. But he ends it with, you know, giving a full understanding of the whole conversion piece. And he says that lead conversion is one of the most skill-based aspects of your real estate business. Skill-based. What that means is that just because you got a real estate license, you're not going to know how to do this. Somebody's going to have to teach you lead generate, and somebody's going to have to teach you how to lead convert. Just because you got a real estate license, you're not going to know how to do it. Because you do it once, that's not going to be good enough. Just because you may have read an article about it, it's not going to be enough. Just because you may have watched this video, just because you got the book, you read it, it's not enough. For you to become skilled at it, you got to do it over and over. It takes practice. It takes perfect practice. It takes doing it. It takes engaging in it, right? I became great as a lead converter is because of all the times, the no's that I dealt with, all the rejections that I dealt with, all the times I messed up, all the times that I did come off pushy, all the mistakes that I made. All that went into me becoming the type of converter and understanding that I am now, right? Haphazardly. Like I said before, after lead generation, lead conversion is the most business critical activity. That's another word that I'm going to be saying a lot. It makes so much sense. Business critical activity. Only 2. Lead conversion, generation. Business critical. And those are 2 that most agents aren't doing, and that's why the average agent makes only between 30 and 40 grand a year. That's why. It's not because they don't know the contracts front and back. It's not because they don't know how to work with buyers. It's not because they don't know how to work with sellers. It's because they don't know how to generate enough leads and convert enough leads to create a pipeline to where I have consistent business. That's the most business critical activity that you have. He said one of the last things you delegate, it means you need to be doing it, you the agent. One of the last things that you need to delegate, and arguably the highest dollar productive use of your time. Highest dollar productive use. So, final recap. Getting appointments to make presentations is, in fact, a moment of truth. Right? It's going to show how good you are in this business. It's going to show how much sustainability, how much skill you have. That's the moment of truth. getting appointments to make presentations. That's going to show if what you're doing is effective. That's if you're just going around and saying, hey, I'm a real estate agent, just because you want to be telling people that you're a real estate agent, hey, do it. But if you're about making money in real estate, what's going to be the tell-all for you is being able to get appointments and make presentations. The tell-all, right? Get an appointment, and it's all down here. That's how important an appointment is. A lot of times it's just about getting there, because you're naturally going to be able to show them how confident. You're naturally going to know more than the customer knows, so it's just about getting in front of them. It's all down here to get an appointment, and guess what? There ain't even no hill to climb. You don't get the appointment, there is no hill at all. It's what business that comes from lead generating activities can turn into probable business and ultimately into profitable business, right? No more real estate ability and production, then I need y'all to get this right here. This part of it, tactic 5. All right? With that being said, like I said, next week, so I'm going to have to add another session. So it'll be 3 parts to this one. We're going to look at tactic 6, which talks about catching people in your web internet and doing lead conversion from that perspective to see how it all fits. All right. Anybody got any questions, any coaching, anything that you guys want to take advantage of while we're on the line? All right. So now, everybody should be in a rotation of 10 to 14 days of a coaching protocol with me. Right? If you have not done that, Rick, I don't think you started yours yet. I need you to go to that same website that I showed earlier for people that may be interested in having an introductory conversation with Brooks and Davis about the one-on-one coaching, real estate and business coaching that I'm going to talk to my agents about now. I need you to go to this website. I need you to choose online or in-person coaching appointment. We do the first one, and then from there, you're going to get some homework, some assignments, and then we're going to get on a 10 to 14-day rotation as we guide you through to realizing your goals and your dreams that you have for this business. So if you haven't done it, if you're a current Brooks and Davis agent and you're looking at this video, go to this website so we can begin your official intentional coaching to get you going where you want to go. All right. So with that being said, we don't have any questions. We don't have anything else. I highly encourage you to take advantage of coming to the takeover on this Thursday. Call into the office if you're going, or send a note in the group me so we can get a good head count so we know who all is going to be in attendance. Do that. And again, take advantage of what we talked about. All right? Get the book if you can. Go back through the notes. This is very business critical information that you need to begin to start applying for your business. All right? Next week, we're going to keep the conversation going in session number 3. We're going to start talking about the internet. All right? If you're checking us out on YouTube, subscribe to the channel so you can get the notifications as we continue to put content out there. Do that. And again, if you're at your current real estate firm and you're not satisfied with the trajectory that you're on, then go to that website. Let's schedule an appointment. It can be online. It can be face-to-face. Come on, man. It's a simple step, but it may be one thing that's the most critical to the direction that your career goes, right? Go ahead and knock it out. Michael G. Davis, CEO, broker, Brooks and Davis real estate firm, coaching you into the cosmos. Let's take off, baby. We'll talk soon.